In this video with the AnKing, I'm going to go over my top 10 favorite productivity apps. I love all of these and I want to share them with all of you so they can help you be more productive. Number 10 is Slack. This is an extremely underrated app, I feel like. I heard about it. Actually, my first year of medical school, someone was trying to convince me to use it, and other people had negative things to say because it's kind of complicated. It is a little complicated, but wow, this thing is so good if you are doing anything in groups. Now, I've pulled up, you can tell I've got lots of things here. I've got, this is the AnKing deck that I have for Anki, and I've got, if we go to the chat here, you can see there's actually about 120 people that are working on the deck actively, and this is what we use to coordinate. You can see I've made channels for all of the different projects we're working on. So it's the same people, but you can make different channels and then have discussions on certain topics like that. And then you can see I have a message to myself here where I've just like made notes for myself. This one you can tell it looks a little different. That's because I've toggled it off. And you can make it so that you can customize your notifications. You can even customize your notifications to the point where you come up here and you pause notifications for so long, or you can set a notification schedule so they only come at certain times of the day. You can tell there's some ones here that are locked, they're private, or there's ones that are public, so anybody in here can join it. I have never paid for this. I've used the free one so far, and it's been super useful. Now, just as an example, if there's things in here, you can see this is GIF keyboard. That's because there's a bunch of apps that I have, so I'll put plus here. These are all the apps that kind of like merge in and do cool things with it. So I've got a greet bot. When anybody joins here, it sends them some information just to help them know. Like I was using ClickUp previously, which I'm not anymore, so it is not going to be in this video. But there is something good coming up that's similar to it that I think is better. Or GIFs here, there's things for polls. You can pull your Gmail stuff in. You can connect it to Google Drive, Calendar, whatever. This thing is so powerful. And then I'll go back to myself here. This is the other thing I love about it is you can just reply in threads very easily to certain people. You can tag them with the @ thing here, or you can just type it. If I come back here, you can do this, and there's all sorts of different things you can do. One of the things I love is setting a reminder. So you can set a reminder for something, or if you go here and you're like, hey, remind me about this message in 20 minutes. So you can kind of like snooze your text messages. Overall, I think Slack is extremely powerful. I highly recommend it. You can see even for our Anki Palace thing, where we are building the Anki Hub app, there's multiple different discussions here that we are having, how to find duplicate cards, how to set up add-ons, different parts of it, and it just helps you communicate overall with everything. It's a super powerful app. Number 9 is the Jump Share app. You can see here on my dock, this is the Jump Share app. It looks like a little kangaroo. And when you open it, it pops up here, and this is the main controls really, and you can actually access a lot of these things online as well. Now my favorite thing is the GIF here. This allows you to take GIFs, short little recordings and videos that you can send to friends very quickly. Same thing with screenshots and video, all sorts of great things just for short. The free one is just 30 seconds, which I think is plenty. I was previously using the Gyazo GIF app, which only lets you do 7, so I like this one a little better. Now you can set it to, I want it to like make a little yellow thing and tell me where I'm clicking. I'm not going to do that. And then I'm just going to do the full screen here and click record. And you can use this like, say I just want to show somebody real quickly, like here's how you add a close deletion and then unclose it. And oh, I'm going to like draw a little thing in the middle of the video here for you. And then we'll like get out of that and I'll finish the video. And it's going to now slowly process that video. So let's get out of this here. And there we go. Now you can see it's processing the video up here. And what I love about this is so it keeps track of things and you can delete them, put them in folders, whatever. Or you can just like copy the link here, which is so handy. And then there's all sorts of things. So anyway, if I go over to the main browser here, and I click paste for that link that I just had. So you can send this to your friend. They can go and see, oh, here's your video. And that's it, which I think is so nice. It's just nice to be able to send a short 30-second video to your friends. The other really handy thing is it lets you take screenshots and edit them really quickly. So if I was taking a picture here and I wanted to show somebody, I could draw like an arrow here. You can do like a little highlight box and all sorts of things, and then you can upload that. It'll pop up here. Same thing, uploads. You can copy the link and share with your friends. So very handy app. I'm using the free one and it works just great. Number 8 is Bitwarden. Now, there's a lot of password managers out there. I personally researched a ton and I ended up deciding on Bitwarden. Reason being, this is open source. It's basically free, the pricing model. You can pay for things if you really want to. But overall, it is it's good. Like, I'm impressed how well it works with everything. There's apps on basically everything, your phone, whatever. You can make it so that it does things. Now, notice it pops up here as a Google Chrome extension on mine, which I've logged into, and it's showing that there's one password for this site. I'm not actually going to show you mine because there's a lot of sensitive information there, but this is basically what it looks like. You can tell it's like this here. You can make tabs. You can actually create folders. You can create collections that you share with people. So my wife and I have one that I'm sharing. My dad and I have one that I share with the other business guys as we're running this Anki stuff. And then there's a generator right here, which will actually generate a secure password for you based off whatever you choose. Do you want it to have numbers? Do you want it to have symbols? Whatever, things like that. There's all sorts of settings. You can do two-factor authorization, like basically everything you need. And like I said, it works really well with your phones and everything. So this one, I'm not going to show you as much about it, but I love this. I feel like it saves me a ton of time. I don't ever have to look up passwords. It also lets you save your credit cards, your identity, or even secure notes, and just type notes that you want to save for later that you feel like need to be saved securely. Number 7 is Slidebox. And this app actually is not on the computers. This is only on iPhone and Android, but I feel like it's incredible. And luckily their website has an awesome GIF here that I can explain why I love this so much. We all have thousands of pictures and videos. We do. It's just the way things are. Now this is going to tell you how many pictures and videos you have on your phone that are unsorted. And then it's going to help you very quickly sort through your pictures, put them into albums or whatever you want. So you can see there's this many pictures are unsorted. You can swipe through them. If you swipe up, it goes into the trash. If you swipe down, it's a favorite. And then you can tap these things down here is going to put them into an album. And you can use this tab here to actually, sort through what albums do I have. You can put albums in albums so you have folders and keep things very, very organized. It makes going through pictures so much easier. And the reason I got into this whole YouTube video and everything is I love photography and videography. And one thing that I've learned is that a picture can be absolutely stunning, but it's only good if somebody looks at it. And usually to get one stunning picture, you have to get thousands of pictures, and so being able to sort through things very easily is really, really important. I love this app. I think it's great. In order to do videos, you have to pay for it, and there's also some ads. I believe it was only a couple dollars. I ended up paying for it, and it was great. I highly recommend it. Okay, this app is super cool. It's super cool. It's called Better Touch Tool. Unfortunately, it's only for Macs. There's one called Better Snap Tool that's a little bit cheaper as well if you just want the snapping features of this and not all the other stuff. But I'm going to show you kind of what it does. So lots of cool things here. I'm actually going to minimize this for now. I'm going to pull this up. This is my touch bar and what my touch bar looks like right now. So this is the Better Touch Tool configuration stuff. And so here's my menu bar. So that you can see this is basically what I'm seeing on my touch bar. And this is the Mac portion of it. And I can add buttons. So if I wanted to go in here and create a widget here, like a volume slider, you can see now I've added a volume slider here. And I can customize, if I only want it to be 100 wide or whatever I want it to be. You can basically do whatever you want. And then you add your action to it. So what do I want it to do? Well, I want it to do, the volume. So I would do volume up, small step, or whatever you want. Anyway, there's all sorts of really cool, powerful things you can do in that regard, and adding things to, like you can see, I stole this from somebody else online. It's a script that basically connects to my AirPods Pro or my Beats. It just makes it way easy since I'm constantly going back and forth between my phone and my computer. And you can set certain things specific to certain applications. So if you're using Anki, you can do specific to Anki. And that's just the touch bar part of this application. You can also customize just about everything. You can change keyboard shortcuts for certain applications or like the whole computer in general. You can do things for, this is what I think is really cool. If you have a magic mouse or a trackpad, you can actually set gestures and stuff here. So like 3-finger gestures, if you do a 3-finger double tap, then you can tell it, then I want to, let's see, OSS, then I want it to open mission control or something like that. So really cool things there. And you can also set multiple steps, so it will do multiple different things. You can set gestures on the magic mouse. On the touch bar, you can actually set gestures like 3-finger swipe does the volume and 2-finger swipe does the brightness and things like that. Really, really cool. You can even use normal mouses. This app has like unheard of possibilities basically. But here's this is a preset golden chaos. If I turn that on, now you can see things get really crazy. It adds a ton of buttons on here, all sorts of preset things. There's a couple other presets online that you can just download, and then that's where I actually got the script for these buttons and then simplified it. Do know if you're using the touch bar part, it might affect your battery life just a little bit, but it allows you to basically create macros. Now the other half of this application is the magnet sort of function, and you can get the better snap tool. It will do the same thing. I'm going to pull back up this browser just to give you a feel for what it does. I'll get rid of the touch bar here, and so if I go up here, you can see snap areas and edit snap areas. Now before I do that, I'm going to show you my current ones I've set up. So I can do it where I hit the top and it goes like that. I can do it over here and it does the entire side. If I do it up at the top corner, then it does that. If I do it right about here, then it does almost the full screen. If I do it down here, it does that much of the screen, and then same thing over here, this much of the screen. So you can set it like, you can create your own. Now the default ones are the top, the sides, the 4 corners. If I go up here and click edit snap areas, you can see these are the ones I've created on my own. You can change the colors of it here if you wanted the background color to be something else. You can actually make it so that this part of it shows up, and there we go. So that it shows up there like that, whereas this one's invisible. And I prefer to keep them invisible, but you can do that. And notice it's just when I'm dragging. You can also make it so that, go back in here, edit snap area, so that it only shows up, this area shows up if you're holding down a certain key. So super handy things like that. That's basically the app in a very, very basic tutorial, because this app has like unheard of possibilities. I do think it's really cool. I do think it's worth the money. It's pretty cheap, honestly. So yeah, and I am not affiliated with them in any way. I just think it's really cool. Number 5 is Steer Mouse. Again, this is a Mac only application. Unfortunately, there are some on the Windows that I've found that work similarly, although maybe not quite like I like this. But I'm going to show you why I love this so much. So if you use a mouse that is not a Mac mouse, so for example, mine is this cool trackball mouse. I really like it, mostly because I have wrist pains. But this lets you customize what all of the buttons do. So you can see I'm clicking on the buttons and it's highlighting them over here as I'm doing things. But what you can do that's even cooler than this is it lets you customize them. So I've got it set to, when I do the back and forward buttons, is going to move my spaces. I can do mission control with the middle button. I can do all sorts of cool things. I can also customize. So I actually, when I go down and up, was kind of backwards for me on my computer, so I was able to set that. But I can also, so I have a left and right tilt on my scroll wheel, and if I do this with the tilt to the left, then it makes my trackball a scroll ball, which I think is really cool. And if I do it to the right, then it snaps my cursor down here to the deck, or to the dock, sorry. And you can basically customize it however you want. Now here's where I think it's extra cool. You can set it so that when you're holding any of these modifiers, it does something different. So for example, if I'm holding command, I've set it to some keyboard things. So I can hold command and push the middle button and it pulls up my calculator. I can hold command, and if I'm right here on some text, I just got some example text so I could show you. If I hold command, and let's go back in here, and we'll do the wheel so I can show you. That's where my shortcut's set. I can hold this and then scroll, and it's actually going to select one scroll equals one word, and I can go forwards and backwards to select words really quickly as I'm scrolling my mouse, which I think is crazy handy. And I've also set it to shift as well, which is going to do different things. So if I can actually go in here. If I'm holding shift, I can delete text. I can select text, with the command key and then hold shift and do the delete key. All my buttons are different here as well. So I can, with my right hand on my mouse, my left hand on the keyboard, I can hold the shift key and then right click and it will do enter. And then I can hold the shift key and do one of my other buttons and I can backspace. Now I can also, if I command, I can copy things. And then I can hold down the shift key, I can bold, I can underline, I can italicize. All without moving my hands. My right hand stays on my mouse the whole time, my left hand stays on the keys. And then you can also do combinations, so command and shift. And you can set this for the wheel, whatever. You can also move the cursor. You can make it so that your cursor moves faster. You can create macros in here, although I don't love it as much. I mostly just play with these. And personally, I feel like this is everything I could possibly need because it has so many controls. And what I love is I can keep my hands in one place and never have to move them. So my left hand can stay on the left side of the keyboard and I never have to move my right hand over to hit the keyboard. I can just keep it on the mouse. And that's what I love about this app so much. Number 4 is Text Sniper. I love this app because it basically lets you take text like this from any image or PDF and copy it to wherever you want. It doesn't have to be typed out text as well. It actually works with handwriting too, which is really cool. Although not mine because my handwriting's horrible. But anyway, this is a Mac only app, but there is this app Capture to Text on Windows that I've heard works pretty well. I've never personally used it, but it's something worth trying out. And for Text Sniper, I have a discount code. It's 15% off. It ends up just being a couple dollars. It's really cheap. There are some Mac alternatives that are free or also very cheap, and I found this one works quite a bit better than everything else. So I'm going to kind of show you how it works. I'm going to go up to here. This is the application here, and I opened it. Now it's here. I'm capturing text. You're basically taking a screenshot. So you take a screenshot of the text here, and then you come over here and paste it, and it will paste it in. Now, the reason I like this is, A, it's an accurate app, but it also has other things, like you can take a picture with your iPhone or iPad of just like a PDF or whatever in your house, and it will work. Or you can keep the line breaks or do an additive clipboard. So keeping the line breaks, I'll show you real quick. We capture the text. Notice there's a line break right here. If we come back over here and paste, it will keep that line break. And then the other thing you can do, and I won't bother showing you, is additive clipboard, which means I could screenshot this top piece and then screenshot this piece and then go screenshot other things and then paste, and it will paste all of them. And you can go up here and clear the clipboard history. I haven't used the text to speech. It just basically reads it out loud to you, which I think is kind of cool, but I don't know why I would use it. So I haven't personally, but maybe you find that more useful. There's also a ton of preferences here that work really cool. Lots of shortcuts. All sorts of things. There's updates fairly regularly. It's a great app, and you will find that you will use it way more than you ever planned on once you have it. I promise. I find excuses to use it all the time. It is super useful. Number 3 is Notion. And I love this app. I really struggled at first, honestly, because it is a little bit difficult to use. So fair warning out there. But once you learn how to use it, it's amazing. As you can see along the sidebar, I use this for like all of my AnKing stuff. That's how I stay organized, get things done. Put all my notes in one place. And the reason I like it is because it's kind of a Google Doc, but it also is an organizer and a to-do list. And it's also really good for taking notes. And it kind of does everything. And that's why I like it. And it syncs really well. You can access it online. You can access it, there's an app, like a dedicated app for the computer. You can put it on your phone as well. You can collaborate. You can have people comment. There's so many things you can do. So I'm going to show you an example here. This is a link that I've actually shared publicly. See, I go up here to the share thing, and I've shared this to the web so that people can view this, and we can collaborate and talk about Anki add-ons and whether they're broken or not on certain versions, which is kind of handy. And you can see if I go down to here and open this up, that somebody has actually commented on this and said, hey, it works, which is super nice. You can see there's been some discussions on a lot of these, and I was able to respond. They're able to respond to me. And you can actually write notes within this as well, and then within the table, you can keep track of things. Notion is not just for tables and stuff like this. This is just one example. This is something I've done that I think is really handy, that I really like. And you can see I've done this here, and I can actually add an extra one. Whereas on some things, you can actually change this so that instead of being a multi-select thing, it's only just select, so you can only choose one. You can do all sorts of things, and then you can actually change the way that you can view them. You can have different things here. So if I go to, here's for example, my videos that I want to record, you can see I've made it so it looks like this. Now I could go to the table where it kind of looks like that. And you can sort them however you want. So I'm sorting it by priority, which ones are important. But I kind of like having, maybe not that one, by assign email. My tasks. There we go. I can't remember where I put it. You can tell I haven't changed this in a long time. Well, anyway, you get the idea. You can put all this stuff kind of like this, and it's kind of handy. So then, that's where it is, by status, the first one. I'm just missing it. So it's like this, but then I can drag and drop and say, here's this, and you can see I'm actually working on this video right now. I'm not going to click it because it has a bunch of details in it. But for example, if I click on this, you can see I've written a whole description here, things I need to do. I can add due dates and plan. You can make it into a calendar. There's so many cool things that you can do with this. Now I'm actually going to make a new one here so you can get a feel for a little more like this. Actually, I'll show you another example first, and then I'll make a new one. So this is as part of my scripture study. I've been studying where was the Temple Mount. Most people put it at the All-Alaska Mosque, where the Dome of the Rock is in Jerusalem. But I've been reading and studying multiple critiques by Dr. Martin, and this is kind of my way of putting it all into one place. So I've just kind of put evidences here. I put pictures in. I'm kind of turning it into a personal study document that I could share, actually, right? And there's just all sorts of stuff as I'm studying this topic. So it's kind of note-taking. Now, see, I can share this, and I can share to the web, and click copy, and then go over to a browser and paste this in here. And if I do that, now you can see I can actually share my notes with somebody else, and they can't edit them or anything. Oops. They can't edit this. I can select, I can't edit it or change anything, but I can click on things. I can see all of it. So I can share my notes with someone. And you, like I said, you can enable it so they can't edit or leave comments and stuff. There's lots of cool things. Now here's another thing you can do with Notion. If I add a document, we'll just call this test. We'll do empty with an icon. Now you can see this is just a page, so I can just type a lot of stuff, right? But I can also, where it says here, type the slash for commands. If I do slash, it makes it very easy to create a new block of something here. So, and then you can see there's the little handles, and I can actually move the blocks around. You can move the blocks like side to side, all sorts of really cool things you can do. I can also add a page within the page. So this is test in a test, right? And empty with an icon. Now if I come over here, you can see it's actually within that. So you can create pages within pages within pages. It just, the organization is really incredible. There's lots of cool things you can do. I can also do a link to a page that's already out here. I can also create tables as a full page, or you can, if I do this, and I do a table, I can do a table that is inline. So it's on this page as opposed to being its own page. And then I'm going to do one more page. I know you're probably sick of this. Just so that I can show you what the templates are. There are so many amazing templates with Notion, and I would recommend playing with them. This is how I learned how to use it. Like I said, I was a little uncomfortable at first. This is how I learned it. And you can see there's tons and tons of templates here. And they're all very different, and they're really cool. It's just, the possibilities really are endless. It's just what your imagination can do. So if I click on this one, we'll use this as a template. It will actually pop up here, and I can mess with it and play with it. So I can try the filters and see, that when the name, or, when class is this one. Oh, that's what the filters do, right? So anyway, just an example, and you can mess with this, play with it as much as you want, create all sorts of cool things. I really like this app, and I think you will too as you start using it more. Number 2 is the Spark email app, and I love this so much. I have talked my friends' ears off over and over. I've converted everyone in my life that I possibly can to this app because it is so incredible. Now, unfortunately, it is not on Windows yet. I did pull this up. You can actually go to their website here and say, I want it on Windows. It is on Android and iOS as well, which I have completely given up on my iPhone. I no longer have the default mail app. I am now completely using this Spark app because it is so much better. And I've signed up for this as well, so I guess I can let you know when it comes out on Windows if you're following us on social media. But this is why I love it so much. So here's a message, and I actually have multiple email accounts connected here, and you can get lots and lots, as many as you want, and they're not all Gmail accounts. That's what I like. A lot of these really nice email things are only for Gmail accounts. Now I've got my school email as well. I've got a Yahoo email, lots of different things. Now I've got a signature built in here, but this is just a few things. I'm only going to touch on a few that I love so much. Now Spark is designed so that you can share this with other people. I can click on it and create a team. I am not using that. That is a paid service. I'm using the free version of this app, just as a personal person. Yeah. Anyway, so one thing you can do is you can send later. You can create the email and then choose that you want to send this tomorrow at 5 p.m. or whatever. You can also set a reminder. This is so cool because you can basically send an email to somebody and then say, if they don't respond to me by next week, I want to get a reminder that they haven't responded to me, which is really cool. Then you can add, templates. You can change the text style, all sorts of things. The templates I have, so, things I'm sending frequently, like when people cancel things, I send them. So very simple things. But that's really it here, and I'm going to delete that. Now I've got them all integrated here, and what's really cool is if you do have Gmail accounts or other accounts, it actually saves all of your folders here. So these are all the folders that I have in Gmail, or the tags, or whatever they are. But they work just as well within this, which is really nice. You can see all the trash, everything. When you do have an email, like for example, this new email, you can see it is unread, but I have this other email here and it's in gray. Now, and that email is not showing up in this list. The reason is because I have chosen to set it so that this email doesn't notify me of anything. It doesn't show up in my unified inbox, which is what I'm in currently. See, I can go to my Gmail box or I can go to my unified box, and that's not showing up there. That's why they show up a little differently. Just a really cool setting that you can do. Now I can click on this here, and if I'm like, yes, I definitely want to go to Star Wars Disney World, that sounds amazing, rather than archive or mark as unread, I can snooze it. And I can say, I want to be reminded about this tomorrow or whenever. And I do this all the time. And then I'll click on the snooze here so that I can see all the emails that I've snoozed, and it kind of acts as a to-do list for me, which is really nice. And then the reminders I mentioned earlier, you can actually go and see which emails have reminders. I don't have any currently, right? So otherwise I'd show you. Now, if we go to the preferences here, I'll mention a couple other things. Now, the cool thing, with Apple Mail, if you were to sync this, you would have to go add all 7 emails to every single device you have, your iPad, your phone, whatever it may be. With this, you have an email for a sync, and you sign into that one email on all devices, and it will automatically set up everything else. All the other emails will be logged in. It will change all of your settings, everything. It's amazing. I really like that. Now, this thing's like a really small thing, but it makes such a big difference. When an email's archived or deleted, you can say, I want you to open the next email, or I just want you to go back to the email list. For somebody like me who just wants to deal with one email at a time and not have it automatically read the next email and then you have to mark it as unread, this is super, super nice. And there's just really cool things like that. You can change all sorts of things, like, for example, you can change what the swipe actions do. You can set up your accounts here. I'm going to go in here. This is super, super cool. So with my accounts, you can actually choose. I only want to be notified about, the people that I know. I want to be notified about everything or not at all. So like I was explaining before, this email account has no notifications and is not in the unified inbox. You'll also notice it does say enable calendars for this account. There's a calendar over here, and I have this connected to all of my Apple Mail calendars and my Google calendars all together, and this is what I use as my calendar app in addition to my email app, which is really, really cool. You can also, set up your signatures, templates, whatever. This is the scheduling I was just showing you with all of this, and you can actually choose what defaults you want to be available, so you don't have to pick a date every time. And then you can customize the shortcuts as much as you want. So it really is a very, very powerful email app. I'm so glad that I switched. You can choose so that if you're on a Mac, you can say this is my default email browser, and same thing on an iPhone. You can say this is my default email, and I just love it. You will really, really like it. My number one favorite app, and this one is for Mac, unfortunately, but it is incredible, Keyboard Maestro. There are so many things I could show you about this app, but essentially it allows you to make macro groups. So when you do repetitive things over and over again, this allows you to make it so that you just do one thing, it does all of it all at once. So for example, if I go to the add dialog here, I frequently was having to, change my note type, and then I would have to change the deck, and then I would want to add a tag. I had lots of things going on. And so what I did is I created a macro here, and you can see it. When I type A, 5 times, it's going to activate Anki, and then it's going to do a bunch of things. It's going to add a tag. It's going to change the deck, all of that. So what I'm going to do is I type it 5 times here. You'll notice it changed the deck, added the tag, and then came over here. And you can set this up in a million different ways, but that's just one example of a very quick thing. It's just boom, all of a sudden it's done. Another example, I'll pull up the add dialog here. We'll just do this in Anki, even though this really, you can do it anywhere. It's not just related to Anki. So I've got a lot of autocomplete sets up, so like dot phrases kind of things is how I have this set up. And I frequently was typing things in like HTML, where I would have to add like a link or an image. So if I type href, it's actually going to type it with those and then put my cursor right here. So you can see how this is happening. It's saying insert text by typing. So it's going to delete what I've typed. Then it's going to insert that text by typing. And then it's going to do the left arrow key twice. So when you're done typing, you'd be here. I'll do the left arrow key twice, puts me there. So then I can type what I need to type. Tiny thing, but handy. Now, another thing that I did, it's not just typing and stuff that Keyboard Maestro can do, is I frequently was having to go to Tools, Add-ons, and then View Files, and then navigate back because I wanted to look at this folder, which is kind of in the back end of Anki. I was doing it so often that what I did is I just created we'll go to Enabled Macros. I just created a macro here. Actually, it's going to be in here, right here, Open Add-ons folder. And we can actually test it rather than doing the shortcut. I can just hit Run, and it pops up real quick. And this, I should mention, there's a million triggers. So not just a hotkey, but you can put it in all sorts of different ways. You can do it at a certain time of day when I log into my computer, when all things happen. So many things. You can do when I hold Command down and move my mouse to the left. Whatever you want. There's a million different ways to do it. And you can also, if you go up to here, there's another thing, trigger macro by name, which has a shortcut. And then you can actually just search the name of the macro, so you don't have to remember a million different key combinations. So another thing, I love this so much. Oops, didn't mean to close this. Pull that back open. I've got this under the AnKing one. So that's this .ak here, which is going to pull up a list of all of my YouTube videos so that I can, which is what I frequently am having to share with people, right? And it was taking me a lot of time to have to go and look them up. So .ak, and then I can type in, so if I do special fields, it'll pull up the video here. Now if I hit enter, it just pastes the link. And I'll do it again, .ak, and I'll do newest. So if I hold down shift key and then hit enter, it will actually keep the name here and do that. So there's a million. It took me a while to set it up, but once you set it up, it's so fast, saves you tons of time. And I kind of used examples from other places to do it. Now another really handy thing. This is incredibly handy, and I'm going to put some. Do this here. Put some text in here. Delete that real quick. Okay, so lots of text. Now I've got this. Where is it? This one. It looks really complicated. I downloaded it offline, online, so I didn't make this myself. But basically what I'm going to do is type VV and then something. And it does a million different things. It does this if statement. If the trigger is E, then I want you to do this. If the trigger is, whatever, I want you to do this. So if we bold some of this, italicize some of this, we can actually delete, we don't need that much of it. Let's bold a lot of it. And then we'll italicize and underline. So a lot of times you get text like this. Well, if I copy this and come down here and do VVR for remove styles, notice that it gets rid of all of that. And if I go back in here and I do VVU, it puts it all in uppercase. And if I do, I'll delete it again, VVL is lowercase. I can do also VV, I think T is title case, yep. Anyway, so you're kind of limited by how much you can remember, but it is so handy. And there's also a clipboard manager, which if you didn't see that up here is the clipboard history switcher, which you can actually see all the things that I have copied and pasted recently. And you can have multiple clipboards, which this is such a big deal. So I'm going to do this clipboard 1, and then we'll do clipboard 2. And I'm going to do Command C on this. And then I'm going to do Shift Alt C on that one. Now I'm going to come down and I'll go in here so you can see my clipboards right here. You can see I have this second one here. So if I go here and I do Command V for paste, it's going to do clipboard 1. And if I do Shift Alt V, then it does clipboard 2. And I can also, if I type CCC, that's how I bring up my clipboard history switcher. You can see I have clipboard 1 is on my main clipboard. If I come over here, here's clipboard 2, and you can actually have tons of clipboards, which makes it really easy when you have big projects or constantly copying and pasting things. Okay, another cool thing, and I just love this app so much. As I have shared this, I'm going to put this in the link to this video so you can see it. The .rx and .md phrases, which allow you to do, so like .rx is going to pull up a search bar, and then I can type drug names, so I can do a Pixaban. It just helps you find them very quickly. .md is same. You can type different names for different pathologies, so really complicated names that you might have to look up otherwise. And then that really is it that I want to show you right now. But there's so many cool things you can do. It's very easy to build. You can make folders here. You can create them. Like I said, if you're in here and we go to the clipboard and you want to add a feature, you can click New Action. It's very easy to find. It's very user-friendly to make. That's what I love about it. It already has a lot of things built in, like all of this. You know, we talked about the text sniper before. It actually has an OCR image thing in there. So if I were to screenshot this and then pull up my clipboard switcher here, you can see this here. If I right click on it, I can OCR the image and it will actually look for the text. That was quite the complicated one. With another one, it's quite a bit better. Text Sniper is better than this. But anyway, there's all sorts of amazing things you can edit on here. So like if I wanted to change this to capitalize, I can, and it does it. Lots of really impressive things. Keyboard Maestro is super, super powerful. I actually have a discount code here. I don't get anything from this. It's just for you guys. And this is the video, or the website here. There is a free trial that goes on for a couple months, so try it out. And it's not a very expensive app. I love it. I love it. Okay, I lied about Keyboard Maestro being number 1 because there's another number 1. It's very similar to Keyboard Maestro, and I love it as well. Alfred, the productivity app, is amazing. It's also, unfortunately, only for Mac, but it is so cool. It replaces the Spotlight search where you do Command Space to pull up a search bar, and then you get the Alfred bar, which you can set. You can have both of them. It completely replaced it for me. And that's because you can actually look up files, which is, really nice. It's very simple, but there's a million other features in this, and some of them are free. The workflows part, you do have to pay for the app, but it's a lifetime license, which is really nice. So what you can do is, for example, it can search for your files. You can also search for the web. So if I type GG into Alfred, it'll search Google. So if I do GG and then I can do test, it will search Google and pull up a browser really quickly, which is really nice. And as you can see, you can also do translate for Google Translate. You can do Twitter, you can do everything. You can also do bookmarks, and I love this because it's so quick and easy no matter where you are on your computer. I do Command Space to activate Alfred. I do BM as not GM. BM, as you can see, here's my shortcut. And then I can search for, for example, Kajabi, pull that up, comes up real quickly. It also has a clipboard history, very similar to what I showed with the with Keyboard Maestro. I think Keyboard Maestro's is more powerful, but it still is very nice. So you can type clip, and it pulls up the clipboard history, and you can see all the things that you have copied and pasted recently. You can also have a separate shortcut for that if you want. And it has snippets, which is like Keyboard Maestro as well, where it's like an autocomplete with the dot phrases kind of thing. This almost is a little bit easier to use than Keyboard Maestro for this sort of thing. And you can search them, which is what I really like. So I can do the S here. So for example, here's all the symbols, which a lot of times, you might want to use these. So I can type S for snippet. And then you can see over here is the keyword. So if I type 2 exclamation points, it starts searching for all of these. And then if I were to do it, it would paste it somewhere. So if I was here and I do S, exclamation point, and then paste the command, it will paste that symbol in here, which is really nice. There's a calculator in here. There's a dictionary, so I can do, define the word test, and it will do that. There's so many things that it can do. It can look through your content, whatever. It's tied into 1Password, which is great. I use Bitwarden like I recommended in this video, and there is a workflow for Bitwarden written by the guy who wrote Bitwarden. It's very safe to use, and there's a million of these workflows, which are so powerful. The reason I actually would rank Alfred a little bit below Keyboard Maestro is because it's more complicated. You can see I can't really make my own workflow, whereas with Keyboard Maestro I feel very comfortable making my own workflow. It does actually play into Keyboard Maestro. Maestro very well, which I love. So I can do Command Space, which is the only thing I ever have to remember is that shortcut. I type KM, and then I can do all of my keyboard maestros, and I can search for them, clipboard, and I can pull up all the clipboards. So what I can do is if test copying, if I were to select all of this, and I do KM clipboard, I can cut it to the second clipboard, and then I can do KM clipboard, and I can do paste from the second clipboard. So really cool things that you can do with that in terms of connecting to other apps. This I love as well. This is something I'm going to share in the description. It is a searcher. It's going to use an add-on to connect to Anki and then search in the browser. So if I type Anki and then I do Barrett, it's going to pull up a search bar and search for Barrett in the Anki browser. Really, really handy to be able to search from anywhere, basically. The workflows you can download online, everyone is sharing them. There's a million. Like you can caffeinate your computer or turn it on so it doesn't turn off for a set amount of time. I use this all the time where I'm going like this and I type emo for emoji, and then I can do face palm, or there's a million things you can do. I also, speaking of the symbols and the snippets, if I type sim, it searches, and then I can just do greater than or equal to. There's just unlimited possibilities. I can look for GIFs. This one is probably my favorite one. So when you get like the 6-digit code to log into somewhere, if I type 2FA, it's going to go look in my iMessages for that code and then paste it where I'm at. So I don't even have to go look at it and bother trying to copy it and whatever. There's just so many cool things you can do. You can change the appearance, you can make your phone act as a remote, all that stuff. But this is really the powerful part of Alfred, and it's why I love it and why I wanted to share it with you. If you haven't noticed already, I have a lot of favorite apps. This is a bonus, Backblaze. The reason I added it as a bonus is because there's really not that much to show you in terms of what it does, which is what I love about it. It's a backup for your computer. It's a personal backup. It does it to an online cloud. It does it all automatically in the background. You never have to think about anything, which is what I love about it. You can see it's backing up some of my files right now, changing them. You can choose your settings, what you want to back up and stuff like that. And then on the website here, I've actually pulled up, you can see that if I were to lose things, I could go on and actually order them. And I can also access my files on here, and I can click on them and actually download the files or share with people from online, which is really nice. It lets you do unlimited amount of backup, which is amazing, including everything that's plugged into you. I have 2 4 terabyte drives that I also plug into my computer. So I have terabytes of data backed up. It's quite cheap, which is why I like it. I do have a referral code that I'll put in the description of this video. Unfortunately, there's no discount, but it is an affiliate link, so I get a little something if you end up using it. I purchased this and used it for a year before I ever even signed up for the affiliate code. I use it personally and I love it, which is why I added on as a bonus here. Thanks for learning with the AnKing. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel here, as well as follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Patreon. That is at AnKingMed. Also, feel free to reach out via email or check out our website, ankingmed.com, for more tips and tricks.